Hey kids, I want to talk with you quick about our gospel lesson that's coming up Sunday for the fifth Sunday after Pentecost. I've got the bulletin here so you can kind of see a picture of what the gospel lesson is going to be about. The gospel is going to be about Jesus saying these words to his disciples. Jesus says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So that's what Jesus says to us in our gospel reading for Sunday. And Jesus says that if we are laboring and heavy laden, we should come to him. Now, heavy laden just means that we have a big weight on our shoulders. And labor means, the work that we do. So adults, they get worn out during the week because they go to work, or moms get worn out because they're caring for kids, which is a very difficult job. And you kids are worn out, when you go to school and learn all day, or even when, maybe you have chores or things to do at home, you get tired from them. And that's kind of what Jesus is getting at is our daily lives make us tired. But it's much more than that. Not just our lives, not just our bodies get tired, our souls get tired because our souls are carrying around the burden of sin. Knowing that we're sinful people and trying to cover up on our sins on our own is hard work. And just having to go every day knowing that we don't treat our friends and family right. We don't treat God the way that we should. We don't pray or read his word like we should. And this becomes a heavy burden. And Jesus says, "Come to me if you have those heavy burdens." If your body has been carrying a great weight, or if your soul has been carrying a great weight, Jesus wants you to come to him. And Jesus says, "My yoke, or take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." That might cause you to ask, what is Jesus' burden? What is Jesus' yoke, and why is it light? Well, actually, for Jesus, his yoke and his burden wasn't light at all. The yoke of Jesus is his cross, and his burden that he bore on earth is all of our sins. He bore all of our sins on the cross. He took them there and died for them so that they could be taken away from us and put on him and destroyed forever by his sacrifice on the cross. So actually, the yoke that Jesus bore for us was the heaviest of all. But for us, Jesus wants us to take his cross on us, which for us will be easy. Because when we take the yoke of the cross upon ourselves by faith, we're taking up the yoke of forgiveness. Jesus did all the work. He carried the load. He died for our sins. And Jesus now is asking us to accept that forgiveness, to carry his forgiveness along with us, and to believe Jesus and to live in that forgiveness. So Jesus' load, his burden for us is light, the burden of forgiveness, and Jesus' yoke makes our yokes light. So all those things we struggle with in life, our sins, the burdens of our bodies, of our work, Jesus makes them light. He gives us forgiveness. He gives us resurrection on the last day. So we know that our bodies will be raised again. And he gives us joy to know that God has given us work to do to love our neighbor and serve our neighbor. And now that we have faith in Jesus, now that we're new baptized people, that's something we can rejoice in. That makes our serving of our neighbor a light and easy and simple thing to do. Now, of course, in this life, there's still the burden of sin. We still have to deal with the brokenness of this creation. But we deal with it knowing that we're forgiven, that we'll be resurrected, and that Jesus is working right alongside us and through us to love our neighbor. And that makes our burdens that we carry, just like this man in the picture carrying a burden, it makes them quite light.